You might be wondering, Steph, what the hell are you doing? And this is me getting out of my comfort zone and speaking to the masses of whoever follows me, whoever's going to follow me, and what is to come from myself personally. So, if you don't know who I am, my name is Stephanie. I am 27 years old and I am currently in the New Jersey, New York area. I'm a fitness trainer and a nutritionist. My background is actually in nutrition, so I went to school for that. So I have my degree in that as well as my NASM certifications and my precision nutrition certification as well. So you might be wondering, why would you come on here to listen to me talk? And I've asked myself the same question. So for me, this is almost like getting out of my comfort zone and trying something a little different that I'm usually not used to because a lot of times everybody at my job hears me talk 24/7. I'm the loudest one, I think, out of all of us, and I think nobody can argue with me on that. But when it comes to social media, I'm not one to record myself speaking as much as I used to, and I'm trying to just break out of my comfort zone. I think it's awesome to hear more information in regards to fitness and nutrition from other people. And I do believe that I can create an impact on anybody, whether that's the people that are at my job currently or people that have never followed me before and they need something new and they need just a little bit extra motivation. So this is kind of where I'm at in my journey, just trying to see where things go. I did a podcast a while ago. It kind of just, we didn't go through with it. So this is almost like my renovation of it and seeing what happens. For me, if you don't know where my story begins, this is the time for you to sit back and chill and me talk about myself. My whole life, I've been playing sports. It's just something that I've always done. Soccer, softball. I swam one season, and I'll kind of get into that when I do. But there's a period of my life where things weren't the best as far as eating healthy. I didn't really know what that was. I come from a Middle Eastern background, so a lot of times food was high fat, full fat dairy, meat, whatever it is. It was obviously great food and it still is great food. But it's different when you're going on a journey to find health and wellness. And for me at that time frame, I had a lot of bad habits. So drinking soda and eating junk food to a little bit overboard, I should say, in that regard too, because I had a binge eating problem and just I think people go through different periods of their life where, in a way, it shaped me into who I am today, but it was definitely a dark time in my life where food was kind of my escape from reality, especially at a young age. It should not have gone as far as it did, but it did. And that's why I'm currently in the position I'm in the fitness world is because I want to help others break out of that habit or get to them before they dive a little bit deeper into that bad habit. So that's always been my mantra, especially after losing the weight that I lost, was okay, what do I want to do in my life? And kind of fell onto my lap here with the nutrition stuff, nutrition, food science, and overall just training. So being a strength coach definitely has shaped me into who I am today. I gained about 70 pounds in 8 months during my high school. I think it was between freshman to sophomore year. I was in denial for sure. I was overeating and eating way more meals throughout the day and high calorically dense foods as well. So I didn't really have a concept of nutrition. They didn't really teach us about nutrition in high school. We had to almost learn on our own what was going on. I used to look at food labels and say, "Oh, a whole package of Oreos is 140 calories for the big box," which is incorrect, obviously. But it was one of those things that we were never taught. We had to teach ourselves. And after soccer, it was that off season period where I wasn't burning the same calories that I was during soccer season, about 1,000 calories a day during soccer season with running and playing games. When it came to the off season, I had no desire to work out. We didn't, there was nothing in me during the winter time that I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go work out. I hated it. So, which is pretty funny when you look back because you see me at the gym all the time. I work in a gym. So looking back and saying, Steph, how did you hate the gym? Oh, I hated it. I did not want to be there. it was not something that we did when we were younger. So I did end up gaining 70 pounds, which was definitely miserable. I hid myself in a lot of clothing, so I never really showed it to myself. I was in my own self-denial bubble. And it took me maybe 6 months to realize this is not what I thought was underneath my extra large sweats. I was always wearing comfortable clothing and we had uniforms, so I didn't even notice as well. It kind of gained the weight in my stomach area and my face. So it was, when you look back and see photos of me at that time, it makes sense. Like, oh yeah, you did gain weight. But I didn't really show it to my peers. My parents obviously noticed, and a lot of people in my close circle noticed, but nobody besides my parents gave me a hard time. And it was almost that they were pushing me to a point where I did not want to even consider losing weight an option. I was more like, I'm not doing that. You want this for me, so I'm not going to do it in spite of that, which is a bad mental state that I was in, which anybody could agree on. And this may resonate with you. Who knows? I have no idea. But for me at this time, I was very miserable. And I was in a weird toxic relationship with somebody that I was seeing for maybe a couple months. And he was somebody that was even telling me how I needed to lose weight. So it was kind of surrounding me. But in spite of it, I just was saying, screw everybody. I'm not doing that. I don't want to do it. I don't need to lose weight, X, Y, and Z. And it just took one moment looking in a mirror. And to be fully transparent with you, I was naked, about a shower, looking in the mirror for the first time since 6 months prior to that, and noticing stretch marks. My stomach was not the way that I remember seeing my stomach at one point, and it was 8 months. It took 8 months for my whole body to transform, and obviously going through hormones and everything, it just was not a good time. And I had a mental breakdown. I was a mess. So I definitely did not go about this in the healthier way in the beginning, because for me, I need to lose weight. I just need to lose weight. I don't care how I do it. I just have to do it. So it was detox teas. It was eating under 500 calories a day. I went through a whole spiral effect of looking at different recipes. There was books that I read about how you could lose a pound a day if you just ate 500 calories, which I don't recommend to anybody. But those were things at that time frame where fit tea was kind of popular at that time, and little dieting tricks and tips were kind of popping off on Instagram at that moment in that period. So I tried everything and nothing was working. I had high cholesterol at the age of 15. I had I was borderline pre-diabetic at the age of 15. My triglyceride levels were triple the amount that it was supposed to be. So it was hard to hear that at my age because I didn't really understand what was going on, and I didn't understand in regards to how to lower it, if that makes sense. The doctor just said, "Hey, you are fat and you need to lose X amount of weight. And this is what you have currently going on after doing your blood test." So, no one, especially in my family, no one had the background of knowing how to maneuver around these things. And if you see on a food label that it said 0 milligrams of cholesterol and it had to be like a pack of M&Ms, I would eat it, knowing that there was 0 milligrams of cholesterol, thinking that it was healthy and I was safe. That's where my triglyceride levels went up because I had a really bad sweet tooth, and I still, to this day, have a bad sweet tooth, but it's not as predominant as it used to be. So when it comes down to it, at that frame, I didn't know what to do. I was stuck. And then I just went on a spiral to research, and I realized, why can't I just manage my eating habits, like portion control and things that are working for a certain amount of people that I wasn't really seeing on the internet. And I was never a healthy eater to begin with. So tracking my food, my Instagram actually used to be a food diary for myself. I had like 100 followers, I think, at that time. Now it's 1,600, which is still not a lot, but it's a lot for me. But at that time, I used to just post everything that I was eating because that kept me accountable for myself. It wasn't for the masses, it was for myself. And people were following me and seeing, oh, okay, these are recipes I never even tried before. Let me try this. And I started cooking and baking and doing things that I wasn't really comfortable with at that time. But in order for me to grow and develop into the person that I am today, it took all that work to get to this point in my life. And it took a year to lose about 60 pounds. I went from 200 all the way down to 140, so a little more than 60 pounds. And I was buffering between 135, 140, and I'm 5'8". So it was a lot lower than I wanted. And for my body type, I was super frail and skinny at that time. It was 18% body fat. So you would think after a certain point, after losing all that weight, Steph, you lost all that weight. You must be feeling so much better about yourself. And I still wasn't satisfied. That's where it tricked my mindset to what I thought I was going to look like, to then seeing it in front of me and going, this is it. You know what I mean? And that's me being real. I lost all that weight and still was not happy. And I was not weight training. I ran an hour a day on the treadmill. And my bad habits came from sometimes if I would eat something bad, I would go downstairs and run on the treadmill. And it became a really toxic habit of mine. I never did anything else. I never weight trained, never did any of it. And when I turned 18, when I knew that I wanted to go to school for nutrition, I actually applied to GNC, which was my first job. I went head first. The second that I turned 18, I went and applied. And I'm happy that I did because I did meet a lot of guys that truly helped me and shaped me to not only being a good salesperson, because I will get into that too. I have a lot of sales background, retail background. They shaped me into the person I am as far as loving to train. At that time, for women in the fitness world, it was you're going to look bulky if you lift weight. You're going to look fatter and more muscular like a man would, which is bullshit. Lack of better terms, is bullshit. And I believed it because the older generation of my whatever I was taught growing up. And during that frame of time, it was you got to be skinny, you got to be nice and petite. And that just was not me. It's not who I was. And I knew that wasn't who I was. So it took it upon myself to trust my coworkers and my manager and my assistant manager at the time, who I thank them for everything all the time. They definitely I hope maybe they'll watch this, who knows, but um they really helped me out with building my confidence back and teaching me how to train for the most part. I never thought that I would even enjoy working out the way that I do now. And even coaching it to as a job, which is crazy to think about too. If I went back in time and I asked myself where I thought I would be, I didn't think I was going to be where I am right now. And I worked out with them 2 to 3 hours a day. And I learned a lot in that frame. I worked at GNC for about 4 years, 4 or 5 years. And I was terrified. I couldn't even lift the bar off of my chest when I was doing a bench press variation. Now I could lift 145 pounds off my chest on a bench press, which is great. But it took me so long to be comfortable in the gym. And I went to Blink, I went to LA Fitness. I even worked at LA Fitness for a few months, which is how I met my one of my best friends. So everything happens for a reason. And I did during college gain a little bit of weight back, and I still wasn't where I wanted to be. And maybe I'll insert a picture or two. So I was kind of fluctuating at that point and not feeling comfortable. And then, surprisingly enough, I was watching YouTube a lot during this frame of time from when I was 15 to now. Christian Guzman and Max Tuning were two guys that I truly, when I went into the fitness world, those were two guys that I religiously watched, and I still do watch, I should say. So Alpha Elite, when it first kind of launched, and when Christian was actually building his first gym, I was in that mix, and seeing him go from that to where he's at now is incredibly motivating. And seeing how Max has grown too. But those were two guys that I looked up to in the gym fitness industry style of living. I wear Alpha Elite day in and day out, through and through. I'm wearing head to toe right now Alpha Elite, and I will always promote Alpha Elite because they are probably my favorite brand. And the the whole brand itself, the where it comes from, Christian Guzman as a person, he definitely, the both of them, I should say, they shaped me into understanding fitness and being comfortable with lifting. And even Max is what I eat in a days. They helped me out tremendously. Maddie Fasaro is another one. There's so many people in this sector that has helped me grow and notice that they're dudes, but they helped me out tremendously. And I do praise them because the way from where they were to who they are now is just tremendous amount of progress. So I love them. And I hope that one day I could tell them that in person and say, hey, thank you for helping me through my fitness journey. Because that's part of the reason why I'm even here. When I started weight training, I actually got into powerlifting and I met a lot of people through powerlifting. They, a lot of people that I still consider my friends that are still my closest friends. And having a gym space, a community during that time was so useful to my life. I needed it. I needed to go in and actually enjoy working out. I used to just go and hang out with them at the gym because that it just made me happy to be there. And I loved it. I powerlifted for a while, for 5 years. I kind of leaned off of it now, I should say. I'm doing a little bit more functional strength and bodybuilding type of lifting again, just to kind of switch things up a little bit. But I've competed. I got back into a mix of that and I loved it. I loved competing, just doing something that was out of my comfort zone and being put on a stage platform and lifting and training up to it, almost feeling like I was back in that competitive sport realm, which is it is a competitive sport. But I've hit so many numbers that I dreamt about when I first started lifting. 135 bench, 315 deadlift, 225 squat. I've hit all of those. And now, being where I'm at this moment, I I can say that I'm happy with how I look. And I never looked at myself in the mirror and said, "Oh, I actually look pretty good," because I'm very hard on myself. But I'm 160 pounds. I'm shy under 27, 28% body fat. And I'll be honest, that's just kind of how it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. So I feel good. I, at one point with my powerlifting journey, I was 184 pounds at my heaviest, but I was strong as shit. So the weight didn't matter. Body fat was only 3 or 4% higher than it is now. So I wasn't really unhappy. I just knew that I wanted to get down in my weight. I knew I wanted to get back down to 160, 165. And being able to get down in the past year, or I should say since June, so it's going to be a year soon, but I prioritized myself again and started doing more cardio and doing more functional volume training, isolated movements, you name it. I'm doing it a lot more now and being able to do certain things that I can actually coach and train my clients to currently do. So they know, okay, if Steph's doing it and I'm doing it, that means she can actually say either how great of an exercise that is or how horribly I'm going to feel the next day because of how sore I am. So little things that I've changed a lot, or I should say I've changed a lot in the past year or two since or I should say, getting to a point where I wanted to change a little bit of my routine. And this is where I'm at. Eating healthy, eating moderately, not restricting myself as much as I used to about 5 or 6 years ago, and making sure that I'm doing what I'm doing for the clients as well. I can't preach something that I'm not following. So when I say I don't do burpees, the clients are not going to do burpees on my watch. And I always say that as a joke, but it's reality. I will not tell somebody to just cut out drinking and never drink again and they see me drinking at a bar. So it's part of my job and part of my career, I should say, because it doesn't really feel like a job, but part of my career is to help people change their lifestyle and make fitness and nutrition something that is not unsustainable. It's something that is going to change your life and you're going to look at food a different way, but you'll be more conscious of knowing what you're putting inside your body and making the conscious decisions, especially when you're out, especially when you're traveling, knowing, okay, if I even go have a drink or two, I'm not going to stress myself out the following day because I drank the night before. Or I had a slice of pizza before. It is what it is. I used to get to a point where I'd look at a piece of cake and I tell myself, no, I'm not going to have it. And then I would just stare at it for 5 minutes. And then I would say, what am I doing? I'll just eat it. And then I would have 5 slices instead of just saying, the piece of cake is not going to go away. You can have a couple bites, but you'll have it again more than likely in a month or two. I had to lick my plate clean, which you don't have to do. And this is me telling you this because I've been there. And for those that are going through what I went through, you're not alone because if I got through it, you'll get through it. It's just a reality. It's if you want it. Everybody could tell you you have to lose weight, you have to gain weight, you look like this, you look like this. But if you don't want it, it's not going to happen. You have to want it. Not anybody else in your life needs to want it. The people around you should support you in what you're doing. But if they push you and press you and you're not ready for it, then you're not ready for it. But if you are ready for it, you will put yourself in a position to prioritize your fitness and your health and prioritize making yourself a better person than you already are in that moment. Because no matter what, you're doing it to better who you are as an individual, not for everybody else's pleasure. Because that was also something that I always had in the back of my mind when I lost all this weight. Oh my God, you look great. Oh my God, what did you do? Oh my God, you look so much better. Okay, thanks. Looks so much better. Those are terms that you'll hear. And if people do care about you, they'll say, wow, you've transformed from 0 to 1,000. I'm so proud of you. Keep it up. That's all. There's certain ways to speak to people without offending them. But in that moment, it's hard because you worked your ass off. And for somebody to come up to you and say, wow, you look way better than you did before. So you just didn't like how I looked before. And now that I look better in your terms, you want to be my friend or you want to be in a relationship with me. You know, those are things that you have to battle as time goes. And I know I did for the longest time. And truth be told, I was at my peak right before COVID. I was so consistent in the gym. I was going 5 days a week. I was eating clean. I was lifting, you know, 225 pounds on my deadlift, even though my form before COVID was horrible. But I was still doing the stuff that I needed to do. And then COVID happened. The world shut down. And I was working at Vitamin Shop actually. And yes, I did hop ship, but I was working at Vitamin Shop at that time during COVID. And I just didn't know what I was going to do because I needed an internship and the whole world shut down and I needed one to graduate. So a layup happened and I actually spoke to somebody that used to work for the company I work for and she was able to get me an interview and I had an interview with Joe for an hour and a half on Zoom. He offered me the internship opportunity and I took the risk and I gravitated. It took 3 months. They gave me a chance, even though I definitely was not definitely was not in a place where I knew what I was doing in training. I knew how to train myself to an extent, but I didn't know anything about the mechanics of weightlifting, the science behind it. Everybody had their exercise science degree. I was the shy. I had my bachelor's in nutrition. And I knew I was really, really good at nutrition. And I knew I was really, really good at sales. And if somebody could just teach me, I knew I would get it. And they took that risk and they said, we want you to come onto the team because we feel like you could do well. And 5 years later, I'm still here in the position that I'm in. But I went from intern to head coach, community manager, assistant sales director, and head nutrition director. So it's definitely a 0 to 100 progress that I've made in the last 5 years. And the clients that have come and gone, the people that have transformed through my very eyes, the people that I've helped in the last 5 years, those are rewarding to myself. And it makes me feel good about myself as a coach and also as a person because I'm impacting people on a daily basis. That's all that I wanted to do when I first lost the weight that I did. And showing people that I am relatable because there's not a lot of people that can be relatable, but I am relatable. I can understand what you're going through because I was there. Just because you're 20 years older than me does not mean that I don't understand what you're going through. I can understand. I've been through hell and back, in lack of better terms, with overall my well-being, my mental state, and my fitness. And the gym is intimidating. So I take pride in making sure that people are comfortable in the gym and making everybody enjoy the hour that they're there training because that's the only way that you're going to see progress is if you keep coming, if you're consistent, and if you actually enjoy what you're doing. The nutrition stuff will fall in line if you want it to, but once you get the training down, the nutrition stuff will just fall right into place if you want it to. And I take pride in knowing that I do impact people on a daily basis, both in the gym and out the gym. And that's why I'm here today to speak on certain things about nutrition, about fitness, and speak to the public and not be so scared about speaking to the public. So, this is me getting out of my comfort zone and speaking to all of you. And that is my whole story, which is going to be the first episode of hopefully many. And maybe I'll get some guests on here. Who knows? But I definitely wanted to try something that I felt was needed and necessary to better cultivate and captivate other people. So I do appreciate you listening. I do appreciate all the support and love that I get from my friends and family. And I hope that this creates some sort of impact in your life.